Hello, welcome to Caesar's Snack Sandwich. It's been a little while and I'm kind of trying to get back into it, so I'm a little bit rusty. But anyhow, today I'm decided to look at Alpha Homora. They've just launched on Optimism here, and they've got a product that's pretty new. Basically, it's a leveraged up Uniswap version 3 position. Now, there's some key things about this. This is not auto rebalance. Now, most Uniswap protocols or protocols that build on top of Uniswap version 3, they will help you to rebalance your position. So they will constantly move the price range for you and keep you in range. This does not do that. So you have to maintain this, you have to watch this, you have to take care of it. So what they have done here is they've added two major benefits to the Uniswap version 3 position. The first benefit is they've simplified the UI a little bit. So you have these three choices. You can choose between a wide range, a medium range, or a narrow range. So this is the ETH USDC pool. So if I go to Uniswap, I can then, if I'm on Uniswap, I could do like whatever range I want. I can just decide, I can choose the numbers, I can input the numbers. I have full flexibility, right? But here I have limited flexibility. Now, what they say inside their docs and inside their blog is that they researched these ranges. So I would presume that it's just a simple like percentage range on either side or so forth. But if you notice, it's a little bit wider on the upside than the downside. So as you can see, they must have done some research and some backtracking data and say it's more likely to go up than to go down and blah, 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 blah. So basically you can choose these ranges. So that's the first benefit, is they kind of simplifying things for you, and it's not so complicated like this thing here. Like if I wanted to put this 136, I would have to come up with exactly this amount. It's more difficult. Like here I have both amounts inside my wallet, but if I say I didn't have enough USDC or enough ETH or something like that, then I would have to do some swaps and stuff like that. Whereas this is going to take care of some of that for you. So let's say I chose medium. Now, the second thing this does for you is it allows you to borrow assets from Iron Bank to leverage up this position. So as on Uniswap version 3, it doesn't show you any APRs or like any trading fees that like you can expect, right? Whereas here it's kind of predicting it a little bit. It's saying the APR is going to be roughly around 22%, but that's based on historical trading, of course. So it might be much more, it might be much less, but that's kind of what you can hope to get, right? And this is based on the last 24 hours, as you can see. So then I go to next, and then as you can see, it just says, what would you like to supply? I could supply max USDC and max ETH, but like, of course, you need to keep some for gas. So maybe I will put a 2 here. Now, this is not completely balanced, because if you look at like the range is, I didn't set the range different. Like I'd have to be very careful about setting these exactly to the same range that we're setting here. But this is not exactly what is needed. So it's going to do probably a little bit of swapping to make sure the balance, the token ratios, the token quantities meet the price range ratio needs. Okay, so anyhow, basically it's going to make it zappable basically. So you could put 0 here and still go on, even though it definitely needs some ETH, right? So now what is it going to do? Oh, I'm going to just put 0.2. So what is it going to do? It's going to take your assets, right? And then it's also going to borrow some assets. So that would be the next step. So basically, how much do you want to leverage up? So you can basically slide this along, and you can see that, how much you're borrowing of each of the tokens as you slide along. And as you get into high risk areas, it starts telling you, you can't go this far, or, if you want to take this much risk, you need to swing over to advanced and so forth. And anyhow, so I'm just going to put 2 times here. This is just like a test or a little testing thing. And then next. And then it gives you a nice good readout of what you're looking for. I would suggest you to really go through this and read. I'm not going to explain all of these little things here. So there is some key things in here. I'll get into it in a second. Let me go down to confirm. 18 cents total gas. Looks good. And submit the transaction and wait for confirmation. And now it's good. So now I go over here to my positions and we can see my positions here opened. It's got a debt ratio of like 68%, which is not too bad, but as it gets up closer to 75, I believe it is, it's basically, you know, let's double check. Okay, so here in the docs, you can see that it's got a 85% on most of the pools, and it used to be 90% that you would then start getting liquidated, 95%, and now it's at 85%. So this is kind of the number you need to watch, and when it starts getting to 85, then you need to start worrying, right? And you know, of course, you'll see this will become reddish or yellowish, and then start managing it, right? Now, like I said, this does not automatically adjust your range. So let's say, for example, I've got some Uniswap version 3 positions. So let's say I set the range, or I got a range that was like basically these 2 red lines here. And as it's bouncing around inside here, I'm grand. You know, it's building up liquidity, trading fees, and it's also in range and so forth. But as it approaches the line, it starts getting impermanent loss. And if it crosses through the line, then you're fully impermanent loss and you're outside the range and you're gaining no trading fees and you're all in one token. And you're also incurring interest because you've borrowed a whole bunch of tokens from Iron Bank, right? So you have to be careful about this, okay? So there's a button here that's called reinvest. And what this is going to do is it's going to basically take the trading fees and re-add them in. And you want to do this as often as possible. Of course, you know, consider the gas costs and stuff like that and how much you're getting. I probably shouldn't do it with this position because it's quite small. It's just a test position. But you would want to reinvest this as much as possible so that your trading fees are inside gaining more trading fees. So it's kind of how you compound. It's not an auto compounder, okay? So you could probably set up a gelato, like just to call this for you once a day, once a week, however often makes sense for you. And then you have these manage where you can leave the position and so forth. So basically, if you set up a chart like this to watch your range, and as it starts approaching, you might want to consider, of course, you know, that's your choice. Like you might think it might go down, you might think it might continue to go up. You're going to have to probably sometimes close these positions and then rebalance them as well so that they are always in range. Now, if you think this is pretty high risk, because there is some liquidation risk here, which is a little bit hard to understand, and if you really want to understand closely, I'd consider going through the docs and reading everything. But basically, your liquidation is when your debt becomes too high. So your interest on your debt is growing, and maybe if the value of your assets decreases, like especially this ETH, right? If this ETH goes down in value and so forth, or you have some serious impermanent loss. Okay, so you're going to have to monitor this carefully, and I would definitely, this is just a quick overview and a quick look at what's going on here. This is not an in-depth. I would definitely go into the Discord, ask more questions, and read through the docs, and especially the docs. The blog post is kind of very introductory. I would read the whole entire docs as I have. Now, if you think this position is a little bit too risky, but you do think people will enjoy using this because, you know, the APY is pretty good on a low risk pair, like there's no tokens to farm, there's no token dumping, it's just basically trading fees. And if you think people will like this, but you don't want to manage this, what I could suggest you to do is go to actually Iron Bank and supply tokens here and here and here. So currently, like the net APY and the staking APY. So there is some APY here on, basically they're giving you IB token rewards. You can use those IB token rewards and put them into here, puff the magic dragon, and gain some more APY, which is quite high as well right now. So basically, if you were to supply WETH here, USDC, or DAI, then you would be supplying your tokens to me to borrow for this position and so forth. And the current farms there's only 3, but they're very low risk. There's not a lot of crazy tokens in here. It's very established tokens and so forth, and the APY is pretty good. If you were to leverage up completely, I wouldn't suggest you leveraging up all the way to the max, but you do you, and you make your own decisions. Okay, so I think that pretty much covers what we've got here. Alpha Homora and Iron Bank working together to bring you some nice sweet yields on some safe tokens. Okay, so that's pretty much it for today. I'm happy to be back, and thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.